Pass the Poutine.
Pass the Poutine.
Fries, cheese curds, and chicken gravy.
Pass the Poutine.
Hi everyone, welcome to Pass the Poutine Podcast. Today we have a very special guest.
Hi.
Her name is Sumin and she is?
I'm Korean. I'm a 22-year-old Korean
student.
Yes.
Born and raised in?
Vancouver, Canada.
Yeah.
Hi,
Sumin. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me here.
Of course, dude. Of course. Thank you for coming. In honor of having a Korean-Canadian guest today, I actually did my hair. Do you notice?
Yeah, it's really bouncy.
It's bouncy. I feel like that's like a word Koreans use to describe hair a lot,
really?
Right? Like people are like, "Oh, your hair looks so spring or bouncy," right?
Springy,
Like I think it means something in Korean.
Volume,
right?
I think.
Volume.
Like, I think.
Yeah. So I actually found this like little perm ball. What do you call that?
I don't know what you call it.
I don't know what you call it, but you put on your bangs and then it just like, because I remember when I was living in Korea before, like I saw so many Korean girls just wear that in public, and then I tried to get my hair like that without the spring ball thing and it didn't work, and then I was like, maybe this is just a thing that like is in their DNA and they just have hair like that.
No, you could also get it permed as well. Like, I have mine permed. But
You do?
It deflated.
Oh,
yeah.
How long does it usually last with the perm?
Like it lasts until it grows out for me.
Oh, okay.
But then since mine grew out, it's kind of like not as much, so I do use this sometimes. The spring rolly thing that you used.
Your hair roller.
The hair roller. Yeah,
Okay. We have another voice. We actually have another person in the room. She's just lying on the bed and she's just here for moral support. Okay, so today let's talk about being a tall Asian woman or girl in Canada, because I know nothing about that because I'm short. I'm under 5'3", and I won't say my height exactly, but yeah, what's it like being a tall girl in general, and how is being a tall Asian girl different from being a tall girl in general, or how do you feel? So first of all, let's talk about how tall you are.
So I'm 171 centimeters. So that's like 5'8".
That's so tall.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember like growing up, I was always the tallest in my class, like in terms of girls, because I was always just taller. But it was really like interesting because my sister isn't that tall.
How tall is your sister?
She's like 155 centimeters.
And she's older than you or younger?
She's older than me.
And she's shorter than you?
Yeah, she's shorter than me. So like sometimes I hate my height, but then sometimes like when I'm next to her, I like look at the top of her head and be like, and I compare my height with her and be like, oh, look at me, and then look at you. Yeah.
Do you ever try to make her call you like 언니 instead?
Oh no, I don't do, because we don't call each other 언니 even though we're like Korean because we were born here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so that's interesting because I kind of want to go into like what's different between being like Korean and like Korean Canadian, because right now the Koreans are so popular, so mainstream. But I guess you guys speak to each other mostly in English, yeah. So you just call each other by name.
Yeah, so we don't even use 언니. If we use 언니, or if I use 언니, it's normally because I want something from her.
Oh.
And then she gets really annoyed.
You never use 언니.
So wait, so you never want anything from your...
I guess so. No, I do use 언니, like to troll. Or like make jokes.
Do you do like the cute like eggio, like oh 언니?
Oh, I think I'll get like beaten up. Yeah.
Wait, so so how is it different being a tall girl versus being a tall Asian girl?
Oh yeah, so like being a tall Asian, since I only like more like Asian guys, I find that I'm a lot more taller than most of them. So like,
ooh.
Yeah, and then I'm just a lot taller, and then when I'm with like my shorter Asian female friends, I feel like when I'm on the street with them, I kind of have to protect them because they're so small and like dainty, and I'm just like bigger.
Do you like feel like their bodyguard?
Yeah, I feel like their bodyguard. Or like when we're walking on a sidewalk, I'm on like the street side.
You're like the guy's position, like when you're like on a date, but you're always the boyfriend in your girl group.
Yeah, but then some of my friends are the same height as me.
Are they Asian?
Yeah, they're Asian. One is Taiwanese and one is just from mainland.
Wow. Yeah. Do you guys ever hang out and talk about what's it like to be a tall Asian girl?
So we just talk about how we're taller than most guys, and that's the end.
Do you guys all only like Asian guys too?
I think, yeah, we all
Oh,
just like Asian.
So, like, what would you say is the average height of an Asian guy, like, in Canada or in Vancouver, I guess?
168 centimeters.
Really?
Yeah.
So, like, 3 centimeters on average shorter.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's what I see as well. Like, when I go to workplaces as well.
Mm-hmm.
Or, like, schools. Like, they're all, like, my height or shorter. Some are taller. But most of them are just, like, I think around 169.
Wow.
168, yeah.
Would you date a shorter guy?
I mean, I've liked shorter guys before.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I just don't date in general.
But okay, let's say you see a guy and you're into him and you want to date him, but he's shorter than you. Is that a deal breaker?
By how much?
Ooh.
Yeah.
What is your grace period? Is like 168 okay? Like that's 3 centimeters shorter?
167.5 is like the cutoff.
Okay.
Like
okay.
At that point it's just like I don't really feel physical attraction towards them. Like it's not like on purpose either. It's like
right.
It's not like a straight line. But if there's something else about them that's like really attractive or charming.
Like he drove a Lamborghini or something.
I actually don't know what Lamborghinis look like.
It's like, okay, like what is like a rich car? Like do you know?
Just, I don't know. The ones that make a lot of sound.
You know, like a Honda can make a lot of sound if you change the specs a little bit. Yeah. Okay. So there's no real clear cutoff. It's just like in general, you're kind of. Does it have something to do with like maybe feeling like more protected by a guy? Okay.
So sometimes when I see like a tall Asian guy like on transit, like unknowingly I'll just end up smiling.
Subconsciously, you're like yes.
Or like when I stand next to them and they're like my type and they're tall, I'm just like, oh my god. Like almost my heart, and then it's like beating or something.
Shimkung. What does shimkung mean?
It's like doki doki.
I like how you answer that question with more Korean.
Oh, it's Japanese.
Oh, is it Japanese?
Yeah. It's like your heart's beating, racing.
Butterflies? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
But
yeah.
That's. I was telling them about it, or I was telling my friends about it, and they told me I was being stupid.
Your tall friends or your shorter friends?
No, I mean like the time I was on the transit and there was this guy who was really tall.
Yeah.
I was telling that to my friends and they just told me I was stupid.
Really?
Yeah, like, oh, it's just height.
It's just height?
Yeah.
Oh man, I guess I never really think about like height because
how tall do you like your guys?
Well, you know, like I just like them taller, and for me that's not hard to find because I'm not very tall. I'm Vietnamese, and Vietnamese people are like pretty short, I would say. Like a Sujin over here who's on her phone. Like we went to Vietnam together, and like I mean Sujin, you were there. Like the men are not tall in Vietnam.
No, they're like so short. They're your height.
Okay, yeah, they're my okay. I was like almost kind of tall in Vietnam, which was weird. Yeah, because okay, I'll just say my height. I'm like 5'2" on a good day. Okay.
Okay. So that's Sujin.
Yeah, so me and Sujin are the same height, and we were like kind of tall in Vietnam.
You're average.
Average. You're tall. Like you're legitimate. Well, you're tall here. Yeah. So in Vietnam, you would be
like a giant?
A giant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But you know what's funny? Okay, so it's actually me and Sumin, we met in Korea.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, and you know, one of the biggest surprises for me when I was in Korea was like how tall Korean people are.
Are we that tall there?
Oh my god, Koreans are so tall, like for Asians.
Oh, okay.
For Asians.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not comparing them to like the Scandinavians and you know in Europe, but for Asians like Korean women are so tall.
I guess maybe it's the high heels. Or like the insoles that they put. No, I'm being serious. Like I don't think that they're that tall.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? Maybe it's just because like I'm short, so I just think like everyone is tall, but they were especially tall. When I was there, I had 2 friends from Toronto, 2 like Chinese Canadian guys from Toronto, and they were both over 6 foot. And I remember like one of them was telling me like before he came to Korea, he was expecting to like tower over everyone in Korea, and when he got there he was like looking eye to eye with a lot of Korean guys. He's like, I don't feel tall here because a lot of Korean guys are over 6 foot. I was really shocked about that too.
Oh really? I never witnessed them.
Wait, what area did you stay in when you were in Korea?
I was in the countryside called Iksan.
Okay, where's that near? Like what's the biggest city? Jeonju, okay.
Which is known for like good food.
Right. Yeah, I was near Daegu, and the guys there are so tall.
Also, there's a thing in Korea.
Tell me.
Okay, so in Seoul, the girls are pretty, and then when you go more south, the guys become more better looking. So the norther you go, the girls are more like, you know, like more attractive, and then
More doki doki.
yeah, the more doki. and then the south, you go like Gwangju, or like where you were, Daegu. That's pretty south, right?
Yeah.
The guys become more attractive.
Interesting.
Well, that's what I heard.
Okay.
But I've witnessed it, and I do think the guys were more attractive down in Gwangju.
Interesting. Okay, I will say, like, Busan is my favorite city in Korea, just because I feel like the Koreans there are very chill.
Oh, yeah,
and I have this theory that, like, anyone that lives near water, like big bodies of water, are more chill, because, like, how can you be sad when you like have this water? It's just like so beautiful. But I heard the reverse of what you said.
Oh, really?
When I was in Daegu. Like, everyone was like, okay, the girls in Daegu are known to be very pretty, and then the guys in Seoul are better looking.
Okay.
So that's really interesting. And I actually one guy I know from Seoul, like Korean, he told me the same thing. He's like, oh, the girls in Daegu are really pretty.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know the truth, but
okay, my aunt was the one that told me that. So.
Okay, how old is your aunt?
She's 50 something.
Okay, maybe it like changed within a couple of generations.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe maybe that's what it was before, and then people just started moving. Like the girls were like, "Oh, the good-looking guys are south. I'm gonna move there," and then somehow the reverse happened.
No, but like when I was in Gwangju, I did feel like I saw more good-looking guys, but in Seoul, I didn't really see any good-looking guys.
Yeah, you know the thing is in Seoul, you see everyone, because it's Seoul, so you get like you get not just Koreans, but you get so many foreigners in Seoul.
That's true,
yeah. So I remember just seeing like just a mix of everybody.
I guess they also kind of look like, since all like Korea's are very trendy.
It's like the new Japan, right?
Yeah, or they all like have the same fashion sense and hair and makeup, so they all just kind of end up looking all similar.
So as a Korean Canadian, what do you think about the beauty standards that Korea has for both men and women?
So like on the media, it will tell you that like it's like big eyes, pale skin, tall nose, this and that. But then if you actually like the Koreans that I talk to here, they don't really agree with it. Interesting.
Korean Canadians don't agree with that.
I mean, like the Koreans that came from Korea to here, they're like like my friends, they don't really agree with it, and they're international students.
Oh, like they don't agree with the beauty standard?
Yeah.
Meaning
like they find like girls with smaller eyes more attractive.
Oh.
Or like I think by the media it does portray that, but I do think that a lot of other Koreans don't really agree with it.
Okay, like so, because what I've noticed about Korea is like the trends change so fast,
so
right?
Yeah.
So maybe that whole like beauty thing is so in, but then like 2 months later, the trend can change totally.
Yeah. There's also an actress with single monolids, like monolid eyes.
Is it the girl in Goblin?
Yeah. She
Okay,
got really popular.
Yeah, because I was so surprised because that was a super popular drama that came out, and then when I saw the main girl, I was like, whoa, she doesn't have double eyelids, and she's so popular, and people are like, this might be the best drama of all time or something like that. Yeah, she's so popular. That's so interesting. And I do see more popular actresses or K-pop stars that have monolids.
Yeah, I think it's very charming, you know.
Yeah, well it's just like it's natural, like for some people, right? And then it's just their look. So
also like if the rest of your face is.
Have you ever heard of a person get monolid surgery?
That's so true.
What?
Hey, not yet, because it's a new trend, right?
It's also a lot harder to get monolid surgery versus.
Yeah, how would you do that?
It's like it's a more extensive procedure.
Do you know how the procedure is? Is it a real procedure?
It is a real procedure, but I read up on it briefly, but like it's a lot more difficult to achieve that versus getting from monolid to double eyelid. Right,
because I know with double eyelid, they just like cut your skin and then they stitch it together.
Yeah.
Like how would they reverse do that? Would they just put like Botox in your like eyelid and just hope that the crease add some fat, you know, just hope it like frees your eyelid or something?
Then your eye gets really puffy.
Yeah. Oh, is puffy kind of a beauty thing too?
But on your eyelid?
I don't know,
so
man.
You look like you cried.
Who knows, man?
Or you could just cry every day and then you got monolids.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. A cheap way to get monolids if you don't have money. You just cry every single day.
Yeah.
So what I know, another thing about Korean beauty, or trends is like Koreans are super into white skin, or like the lightest skin they could get. So what I noticed, being someone that like likes wearing makeup and stuff like that, going to Korea, I could not find a foundation shade for me, because every single store I went to, there were only 2 shades.
Really?
White and super white. That's it. Right? There was no like fair. And the funny thing was, a lot of Koreans aren't that light. So I'm just like, how do they find their foundation shade?
But sometimes you'll actually see on the streets like people with the wrong shade.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
Like, when I would talk to other foreigners when I was in Korea, they're just like, why do all the girls here wear white face?
Yeah.
Right? Because their necks would be yellow and their face would be white.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what's the obsession with white skin? And do you think it's, like, unique to only Koreans, or is it just, like, a East Asian kind of...
I think it's, like, a very East Asian thing. I think it stems from, like... What's it called? Richness? What's it called? What's it called?
Oh, I'm so poor. I don't even know the word. Wait, what's the word?
Royalty.
Royalty.
Like you don't go out.
Prestige.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You don't go outside.
Right. You can't get tan because you're like inside, and you have people fanning you and feeding you grapes.
Yeah.
And that still kind of holds.
Yeah. Actually, I think that a lot of people tell me I'm on the paler side.
You're super pale.
Oh, okay.
Sumin's smiling real big right now.
No. It's because I actually hear it a lot.
Yeah.
And then like a lot, but they're like, oh, why don't you go outside a bit? You know, it's because you stay in your room all day.
They think you just like are purposely pale.
Well, I actually kind of, one of the reasons why I'm pale is because I took some human anatomy courses. And then we learned about, in pathophysiology, we learned about like cancer and like how cells are is this like,
generated?
Isn't this a really boring subject? Anyways,
No, keep talking. I want to know.
This is how cells, like there's 6 ways or 8 ways, I think it's 6, on how cells are damaged. And then there's like toxins, there's like, and then toxins, I don't remember the rest, but one of them was like radiation, which comes from the sun. So ever since then, I've been trying to like avoid the sun because I don't want the radiation.
Right.
Yeah.
So are you like the Asian I see on the street that has the umbrella when it's really sunny?
Well, I don't have an umbrella, but like I cover my face.
Do you actually?
Yeah, I cover my face. Like,
how?
Like I just use my hands and cover my face so the top of my hands get it. And then the top of my hands normally has like hand cream and like
protection.
Yeah.
So you walk with like your 2 hands covering your face on the sidewalk.
Exactly. Yeah.
Everyone.
My friends call me weird for that.
It is a little bit weird, like being like probably Canadian, like white Canadians are probably like, is she like famous? Like, is she trying to hide like her identity?
But also at the same time, it doesn't really. There's not a lot of sun here as well.
That's true, and it's like
so,
we don't get sun until like summer.
Yeah.
Spring is still winter.
Actually, these days I don't even like sleep at proper times. Like I wake up when the sun is down, and then I sleep when the sun is about to go up. So I don't really see sunlight as well.
Is that like a subconscious choice so you avoid the sun?
It happened in the final.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. Sumin is a student, so you're doing all this. You're done all your finals, right? Yeah. How do you feel now?
I feel like surreal because I only have like 5 months left.
And then you graduate.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Because I remember a year ago I was like struggling so hard to study, and then like at that time I was just like, oh, I wish it's a year later. I wish I can graduate. And it is finally a year later, and I've stuck through it. So I'm just very like happy that there's only 5 months left.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You know what? Like as someone who graduated from school and is working, I miss school. You know what I mean? Because like when you're in school, you're like, oh god, I have to study. I have to remember all of this.
I mean, you can always go back.
Yeah, but then you don't get money, right? Like if someone could pay me to go to school, that's what I would do.
Oh, okay.
I would totally like just study and get paid for it.
What would you want to study?
Ooh, that's a good question. That's really good. I think I would study maybe more philosophy still. I really like philosophy. And I think I would study something, I would try to study something technical. Maybe like computer, like science, maybe coding. I say this now, but you know, I might drop out.
There's some like coding boot camps out there if you want to.
Yeah, like online, right? Like Code Academy. I know I tried that for a bit,
but I don't think Code Academy is that great.
Okay. Oh, do you know some like good ones?
it's kind of like, I think for Code Academy, it's really hard to be disciplined for it. I've tried it and it didn't work.
Yeah, same. I tried it when I was living in Korea, and
really?
here I am now, so I haven't finished it at all or looked back. But but okay, so you're born and raised here, and then you moved to Korea. How long did you live in Korea for?
So I was born and raised in Vancouver, and then for the teaching thing that we both did, that was my second time going to Korea.
Oh, when was your first time?
My first time was in grade. I was 13, I think, and then I was there for 60 days.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
What was it like? Okay, what was it like when you were 13? Let's talk about that.
The thing is, I went when I was 13, and then I went again when I was 18, and then those 2 periods, so much had changed.
Korea changes so fast, and
exactly.
that's a 5-year period.
Yeah. So when I was 13, like people were like I don't think people were. Maybe I was only 13, so I didn't see it. But people weren't as obsessed with their looks, I think, at that time.
Oh, okay, okay.
But then when I was 18, and I went, everyone looked so similar.
Oh.
Because in terms of like fashion, makeup, style, like, so I just, along with the plastic surgery, I think they all went. It looked like they all went to the same
surgeon. Yeah, they went to the same guy. He's super rich now.
And like this is one of like the weirdest experiences that I felt when I was in Korea.
13 or 18?
18.
Okay, 18
so
years
I
old.
was at this like New Year's rap concert with my friend.
Rap, like a rapper?
Yeah, they were like I think the most popular guy that was there was like B.I.
Okay. I don't know who that is, but yeah.
But it was in Gangnam, and then there's like this stereotype about Gangnam girls, which I'll explain later.
Ooh.
But like I actually left early because I don't really like that clubbing vibe, and I was getting a headache, so I just left, and I was waiting outside for my friend to end. And then when it ended and all the girls came out, it was just like an army of like
just like a robot clone, like a sci-fi movie.
Yes. Yeah.
What?
They all look so similar and same, like same style, makeup. Maybe the hair was like a bit changed from like bangs to no bangs, but like they all walked out at the same time. They were all like looking like amazing, and they all looked like so similar. And it was like how you describe like a factory or like a sci-fi thing.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow.
Whoa.
But yeah, that was just really like interesting for me because I came from Canada where like everyone kind of looks like,
different. Like to be honest, like Canadians don't really care about their looks that much, right? Yeah. And Korea's the complete opposite of that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was just like, whoa, and then but then the thing about it, I was in an area called Gangnam, and there's like this stereotype called Gangnam girls.
So Gangnam, like Gangnam Style, like the song?
Yeah. Okay, so it's a rich area in Korea, like in Seoul, it's a neighborhood, and it's where like a lot of rich people go, and at the same time, because plastic surgery is expensive,
right?
They kind of, and they're all rich there. They all kind of like get it.
Oh yeah, they got money. They got money to look pretty.
Yeah, and so I think. Like none of them had monolids, I think, when I saw was there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I don't know if that's real or not. I'm not like trying to point fingers, but it was in an area called Gangnam, and so
Gangnam is famous for like plastic surgery, and like is it kind of more famous for like good-looking girls and guys, or
I think it's also just like a working area.
Oh, okay.
But I actually don't know too much about it, but I do know the stereotype because after I told that experience to my aunt, she's like, "Oh, what did you expect? You're in Gangnam." I'm like, oh, what? And then she's like, yeah, they're Gangnam girls. I'm just like, and then I searched it up, and like, it's basically like girls who look very similar.
You just Google Gangnam girls, and it's just like the same picture over and over again.
Yeah. No, if you Google it on Google Images and type in Gangnam girls, you'll see it as well.
Like, how do you say it? Is it like Gangnam Yoja or like
just Gangnam girls?
Just Gangnam girls.
Yeah.
Oh, like, okay. Oh wow.
Yeah. Isn't it Gangnam mean?
Gangnam.
Oh, can you search it up?
Gangnam mean?
Like Gangnam beauty.
Oh. Just search it up and show Mina all the images, and you'll see what I mean.
So like it's, because I know Gangnam is famous for surgery, and like the monolid, double lid thing is pretty popular. But also when I was in Korea, I felt like a lot of Koreans had really sharp, tiny noses, and I was this is not really an Asian like trait, like a small sharp nose. That's it's like a
the Botox.
Maybe it's Botox. Yeah, is it Botox?
Silicone?
Silicone? Yeah, I don't know a lot about that. Do you have the photo, Sujin? Sujin's our accidental producer. Oh yeah. Okay, so
I was forced.
so I'm looking at photos of Gangnam girls on
Yeah.
on Google, and it says hot Korean girls Gangnam style. So
Or can I type it in Korean for you?
oh yeah, maybe if you type it in Korean, it's gonna show up
Susan, do you have?
like a little bit differently. But yeah, Sujin, did you notice that when you were in Gangnam, when you were in Seoul, like the girls looked very...
I didn't go to Gangnam.
Really?
I went there once just to go underground shopping.
Oh, how's the underground shopping in Gangnam?
Here.
It's not the best.
So
It's alright.
just swipe through.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. This is scary. So it's just basically Asian women, like very puffy. Their face looks super puffy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like their cheeks are really puffy,
Mm-hmm.
and then their chins are very small if they have any chins. The nose is so high. They all have this thing like under their eye. Like you see that bag under?
Oh, yeah.
It's like the bag under the eye, but
I
it's
think
like
called 애교살, right?
yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah.
So it like, what is it supposed to make you look like? Like cute or something?
I think more youthful.
Oh,
I think people also
see.
do makeup for it, right?
Yeah, they
To-
put like glitter. on
Yeah.
it.
Oh, to make it look more puffy.
Yeah.
To look more youthful. Interesting.
And then some people have it naturally.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that is a scary looking face. No judgment if people are getting
Yeah.
plastic surgery. It's just yeah. But you know what? Yeah, like you said, the trend is changing now and there's more monolith, so maybe we won't see faces like that anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess so. But you can't. I don't know. It's really hard to undo surgery.
That's true. It is. Yeah. Ooh, maybe we
I
should.
don't mean to throw shade.
Yeah, no. We're not throwing shade. We're just discussing
'Cause,
like the differences.
Also,
yeah.
it's not because they want to do it. It's because
the pressure from society.
The pressure from society and their friends and like family and like if you're not like doing what everyone else is doing, you'll kind of get looked down on, from what I've heard.
Right, because
Yeah.
because in Canada we're so like, do what you
yourself.
want, be yourself, love
Yeah.
yourself for who you are, like
Yeah.
don't be anyone else. There's no one like you. Be you, Tiful is like a whole
Mm-hmm.
campaign, and then in Korea it's the opposite of that. It's like don't be yourself, be like us, right? Look like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that puts a lot of pressure on women.
Yeah.
But I wonder if Korean men have the same pressure.
They do.
They do.
Yeah. So they also get surgery. They also wear makeup.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Damn, that's tough, man. Was there anything like what kind of culture shock did you get when you were going to Korea as an 18-year-old being from Canada?
So actually, initially, I didn't really have culture shock because when I first went with that teaching thing, I was with a bunch of other foreigners,
Right.
and then after that, I was shipped to the countryside, and
In a container.
yeah, and then I was in an area with a lot of elderly people. So,
Oh my god, and you're so young. You were 18, right?
well, I didn't talk to them or
Yeah.
anything, but yeah, and then there was no culture shock there. I think more of the culture shock was like the way they acted was very different.
Like how Korean people act or the elderly?
Like just like I felt like when I was there, they kind of gave me the bad eye.
Wait, what's the bad eye? Is it like they're glaring at you, like squinting?
Like they like look at you, look down, up, and then because I wasn't really into that stuff,
into the
makeup.
Yeah, right.
And then so when they saw me, I looked very different.
Right, you're
So-
very like naturally beautiful.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Sure. But like I was also at that time I was 18, but I was also mistaken for a 14-year-old as well
Right.
because I didn't wear anything.
Oh, that's true. Because
Yeah.
makeup makes you look older.
Yeah. And then so they all just thought I was young.
Do they all? But at that time you're also still very tall, right? You're still like
So
the
they just
same
thought I
height.
was a really tall.
14-year-old.
But also like when
love
I was
love
teaching elementary school.
Right.
And then like 95% of them thought I was a teacher there.
Right.
But then that 5%, which was the food ladies that
the cafeteria ladies, yeah.
They gave me children portions. And then later I asked them because I was with the teacher. She's like, "Oh, I thought she was a student." And I was like, "What? But I'm so tall."
You're like I'm the tallest fourth grader in the world.
No, but they actually like. I'm not like trying to like be like, "Oh, I look young," this and that. It's just like they actually really like at that time thought I was like grade 6.
That's so funny.
But it was because I didn't wear like makeup and like wore professionals' clothes.
Oh, because sometimes 6th graders would wear makeup.
Yeah, that too.
Right,
yeah.
right. Because I remember when I was in Korea, like when I was teaching 6th grade girls, they all wore makeup. Like they're like, teacher tint, and they would put the tint on their boy classmates too, and stuff like that. So I was like, man, kids grow up so fast. And they'd be like, oh, I have a boyfriend from a different school, you know what I mean? And I was like, dang, these little kids.
But actually, I also feel that here too. I feel like kids growing up fast here as well.
That's true, yeah.
Not just Korea, I think like
it's just all over the world. I just think kids are growing up so fast now because I just feel like kids, like the younger generation now, I feel so old when I say this, but I feel like they're so smart now because they're growing up, they're in the smart generation, right? They grow up with smartphones, computers, like, you know, they're like 2 years old and they're using an iPad already, right? So I just feel like they kind of, it makes sense that they're growing up so much faster.
I also feel like there's a lot of pressure from media as well.
For younger people?
Yeah, for younger people.
Like in Canada or in Korea?
Canada and Korea.
So just around the world.
Yeah, I feel like they have a lot more pressure than
Tell me about that because you're a lot younger than me. So what are the young people doing nowadays?
Well, I'm not that, like, I'm talking about like people born from like 2001 to 2006.
Oh my god, yeah.
But I feel like they just have a lot more pressure to like look good, act perfect because they see it on the media so much.
Oh.
Like if you compare like a 13-year-old like on the red carpet today versus like 10 years ago, they'll look very different.
That's you know what? Yeah. I was totally looking at photos of that. And then I forgot which magazine. It was like maybe Time magazine. The person of the year is that climate change girl, Greta.
Oh, Greta.
Yeah, she's like 16 or something. Yeah. So imagine being like, you know, 16 or 15 and then the other 16-year-old girl is like the person of the year. Oh. Right? That's crazy high pressure. Yeah. I didn't think about it like that.
But I think Greta Thunberg isn't more of like the face, like the external pressure. Like I don't think I think she's very immune to it.
Yeah, she's immune to it, but then like the fact that she is so young and people are like, look at this girl changing the world, this super young activist. Like like I feel bad when I look at an actor in a TV show and they're younger than me and I was like, damn it, I'm still not a famous actor. Not that I'm trying to be, but you know. But yeah, so you're Korean. We talked about this, right?
We keep, like,
it's great. It's because you're not just Korean, you're Korean Canadian, right? Yeah. So what kind of differences did you notice in Korea and Canada, like in terms of Korean food?
Oh, the Korean food in Korea is so much better. Oh my god, the Korean food here is not that great.
Okay, what do you mean? Because like, okay, before I went to Korea, I was like, oh, I love Korean food, but I only ate Korean food like once every 6 months, right? So I was like, yeah, I love like bibimbap, I love Korean barbecue. I didn't really know what Korean food was until I moved there, and I was like, oh, maybe I don't like Korean food that much. And it actually took me like 8 months to get used to Korean food, right? Because I would have kimchi like once every 6 months before I went to Korea, before I lived there, and then in Korea I had it like 3 times a day. Wow. So it was I felt like I was being forced to eat it almost. But yeah, no, after 8 months, I actually really love Korean, and I actually eat like kimchi almost every day now. Like there's always kimchi in my fridge now, just because I lived in Korea for 2 years, so I'm like really used to it now. But yeah, tell me the difference between Korean food in Canada versus Korean food in Korea. Like what are some popular Korean foods that Canadians or foreigners would know, and then what is real Korean food in Korea?
So, I haven't been in Korea since 2018, so I wouldn't know what's what's trendy right now. Right. But like, I think the Korean food here that's trendy or like whatever is like stuck in the year 2000s.
The food in Vancouver, in Canada.
Yeah, like it was trendy. The food trendy here is the same food that was trendy back in Korea in the 2000s. I think it's like
over a decade ago, like 15, 20 years ago.
Which is like tteokbokki, which is the Korean rice cakes, and then the soups.
Yeah, or the
kimbap.
Yeah, kimbap is so popular now in Vancouver.
But like that's very like 20 years ago in Korea.
Wow.
So I think ever since immigrating here, they're kind of stuck in the past, maybe even.
So I think that's a very Canadian thing, because I feel like Canada, we kind of get everything last, right?
Yeah. Also, you know that show, Kim's Convenience Store?
I love that show.
But that show does not actually represent a true Korean Canadian family.
Okay, let's talk about that, because I'm not Korean Canadian, so I have no idea, and but I love that show. Like I watch that show, I think it's so funny. But you're Korean Canadian.
Oh my god, I have more to say about this actually.
Let's talk about it.
Okay, so that show, I think like the cousin
Yumi? Yeah.
Her style is so old. Like, it's like 10 years ago old.
Right, because like what was she wearing? She had like her hair up in pigtails and like
it's
some
very
clips.
Orjang style.
Orjang. What is Orjang?
It's like back in Korea when the Psyworld was a thing, they would wear like bangs and like have like really like dolly makeup. Like right now in Korea, the trend right now is more natural and like pink, orange and like apricot.
Yeah, peach.
Yeah, peach.
Yeah,
but then that girl, that was filmed in 2018, 2017.
Right.
But
yeah.
Her style was very 2010. So like those writers, I think they were just kind of stuck in the past of what they thought Korea used to be.
You know what? Like we should look up who the writers are. Maybe they're just like ajashis and ajumas who went to Korea a long time ago.
There was this other show called it's on Netflix. It was about that.
What's it about?
Chinese comedian.
Fresh Off the Boat.
No, not that one. There was another one. She wears glasses.
The movie?
The movie.
Always Be My Maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the members was Korean, right?
Randall Park, the main guy. Yeah.
Oh my god, that family, like that, I only saw the first 15 minutes.
Oh, like him working with his dad, like installing.
No,
like,
when they were cooking.
Oh, when they were cooking, yeah, okay.
And then like the kimchi jjigae.
Yeah.
Well, that was not kimchi jjigae. Oh my god, she was mixing it with a wooden spoon, and she had it in like this like huge pot. Kimchi jjigae, it's not in a huge pot; it's in a small pot, and there's not supposed to be a lot of water.
Oh,
that's what shit. And then like. It literally looked like they just got like a kimchi and then just put it in that pot and then put water in and then just boiled it. And I saw him like that is not authentic at all. And then they were using a wooden spoon. Like,
okay, so what are you supposed to do? I'm not Korean. What are you supposed to use?
You're supposed to use a ladle or like
like a metal ladle.
Yeah, or like just a metal spoon. Like you don't use a wooden spoon. And then they're like, oh, can you just get warms your heart or something like that? And I was just like, what? And then the family was not Korean, very, very Korean because like they were too sentimental. Like no offense, but like, Korean families aren't that sentimental in my opinion, especially my family. Like we're just like like
right.
Yeah, but
they're not just
like
here, honey, I made kimchi jjigae for you.
And then they were like eating it like not in like actual Korean bowls, but like very like westernized bowls. And I'm just like I know it's an Asian movie, but like I could tell the writers were very not Korean.
Like the writer might have been like Chinese instead of Korean or something like that.
It was their opinion of what Koreans were actually, but like to me when I saw it, I'm just like I showed my sister and I was just like, does this look authentic to you? She's like that doesn't look like kimchi jjigae. And I'm just like, what the heck? She's using a wooden like maybe some families do that, but like not our family at least. And not my friend's family.
I feel like Koreans don't really use wooden spoons a lot to cook, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting choice. Yeah. Koreans love metal.
Yeah, we
right?
do.
Like you guys literally chop things with, or you don't even chop them. You use scissors.
Yeah.
That was a huge culture shock when I went to Korea. I was like, is she cutting that with scissors? Am I in a war? Like, does she know what a cutting board is? Like, what's happening?
It's just convenient,
Yeah. You know what's so funny though? Because in Always Be My Maybe, like Randall Park is Korean, and I love that. Like at no point he was like, people might get mad because you're making an Asian movie. Like, well, it's a Western movie, but it's kind of a Western movie for Asian like Canadians or Americans.
So my assumption is that because like most of the Asian Americans there. They were born there. Maybe they just don't know. Right,
like Randall Park might not even know. Maybe his mom used to with a wooden spoon.
Maybe
it was his idea. Maybe like they were using a ladle, and Randall Park's like, no, my mom used a wooden spoon.
No, but like what was very like I already said this, but like they used the pot they used was way too big. Like that's.
Okay. So they always so kimchi jjigae is usually made in a smaller pot because it's like smaller portions.
Yeah, and it's not supposed to have too much water as well.
Interesting.
Yeah, so the pot was very... And you don't make that much. Like, you don't... Like, when you eat kimchi jjigae, you don't make too much because you just kind of, like, eat it out of the pot and you finish it. You don't, like...
Right. You don't save it.
Well, yeah, you can save it, but, like...
Usually.
Yeah, usually you just eat it out of that pot and you don't want to make too much or else it'll go to waste.
That's true, yeah.
So it was pretty inaccurate, in my opinion.
What about Kim's Convenience?
So, yeah, I... Like, that show, it seems like they're kind of stuck 10 years ago.
Oh,
in my opinion. Yeah.
So maybe this is like how a Korean immigrant family grew up in like the 90s or the 80s or something.
Oh, I guess so. 2005 in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, like back in the Orjang phase, because that's what the cousin looked like.
Right.
So, and that's the same thing with here. Like, the food that's trendy right now was kind of trendy when like the first wave of Korean immigrants came here. That's my opinion, though.
Right.
Yeah, I could be totally wrong. But.
Yeah, I think it's just like because Korean trends change so fast.
Yeah.
Like I feel like even Korean Canadians like can't keep up with it.
Oh yeah.
Right. It's like it's so fast. Yeah. But other than that, like, how do you feel about how Korean Canadians are represented in Kim's Convenience?
The church part of it seems pretty accurate.
So there's like that one lead who's just like, you know,
like how it's very church oriented. Like 'cause a lot of Koreans are Christian, I find.
Yeah. There are a lot of Korean churches around
here.
here.
A lot here.
Yeah.
There's also like cults as well.
Cults or Korean cults like in here?
Yeah, there's some Korean cults here.
Like, do Koreans know about, like, do Koreans know which ones are, like, churches and which ones are cults?
Yeah, it's pretty, like, widespread. Like,
Is it?
There's this cult called Shincheonji.
Okay.
And then that's pretty big. Like, one of the popular actors, he was in, the Moonlight drama.
Oh, I don't...
Reply, Park Bo-gum.
Oh,
He
okay.
kind of got a bit of a scandal because they were speculating whether he was in it or not. Like a cult.
Oh, in the cult.
Yeah. He was.
Oh, so this is a cult that's not just in Vancouver; it's just all over.
Well, there's different types of cults. I don't know if he's in Shincheonji, but I think he's in a different one. I don't think it was Shincheonji.
So Shincheonji is like a kind of like a religion that people. Oh, okay.
It's like the same God, but I think one of their principles or morals is that one day God's gonna take them all and kill everyone else or something like that. I don't really remember.
Interesting.
Yeah, but like I know someone who's in it. But I can't really say much because it's like personal.
Right, of course.
But it's not good. I think it kind of breaks up families.
Oh, yeah. If people get like too deep into like an ideology and people don't agree, then they might.
Yeah.
Oh, did you grow up? Did you go to church when you were younger?
I went to Catholic church.
Nice.
But I didn't really enjoy it or the people there.
Yeah.
So I just kind of stopped going. I also did this thing called catechism.
What's that?
I forgot what the ceremony was called, but you go to the school, and I went every Thursday, and you just learn about God, and then when you're 12 or 13 or 11, you graduate, and then you can, instead of like in the Catholic Church, during Mass, they eat either bread or they...
Body of Christ.
Yeah, okay, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
What is that?
Eucharist.
Sorry, say that again?
The Eucharist.
The Eucharist, okay. And then, I did that, but then I actually really didn't like the people there, like the school people, because like they were like some of the biggest hypocrites I knew.
Oh, like they would preach something, and then behind closed doors they do the opposite.
And then it's just like it kind of lost its credibility.
So it sounds like a normal person that goes to church, not even Korean, just like any.
Yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with. This was a white.
Oh, this was a white church.
Yeah,
this wasn't a Korean church.
Yeah. So also I was the only Asian there as well.
Oh, interesting. So that's actually, I feel like that's pretty unique because I feel like a lot of Koreans just kind of go to Korean churches.
I actually went to my friend's church as well when in high school, and then they're all really nice people. But like at this one point, I was like really questioning at that, because you know how when you're younger you go through that phase of like, oh, find who you are, this and that. Yeah, but like I was in that phase, and then I prayed to God, but like, and then there was this pastor there, and then he gave me like, we were all waiting in turns for him to give us like really good advice from like God, but then none of it was like applicable or like relevant to me.
Oh, okay.
It was so generic.
Oh,
and I'm just like what? And then I don't know. I just kind of lost all its credibility, I think. Yeah. What about you?
No, I'm Vietnamese, so like I didn't. Yeah, so I think a lot of Vietnamese people are like Buddhists or like fake Buddhists. I don't really know, but of like Christianity wasn't, or Catholicism wasn't really a thing in Vietnam. So when my parents came to Canada, like if we didn't have a religion, but if we did, it would be Buddhism, because I do remember going to like temples sometimes, and like burning fake money for the ancestors and incense. So I remember burning a lot of incense.
Did you say fake ancestor?
Or fake money for fake? Did I say fake ancestors? Maybe, I don't know. Like for the ancestors, you know.
I'm tired. Maybe I misheard it.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. But yeah, no, because I find like out of all the Asians, like Koreans are the most Christian or Catholic,
Yeah.
which, because I feel like a lot of Chinese people are Buddhist, a lot of Japanese people are Buddhist, blah blah. But then for some reason Koreans are like
Christian.
very Christian. Yeah. I find that super interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of churches in Korea too.
Yeah, like and I find that a lot of churches, like in the suburbs of Vancouver, they used to be like white churches, and now they've changed into Korean churches, which is something I find like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Being born and raised in Canada, I didn't have, like, there weren't a lot of Koreans when I was younger.
Yeah.
So like when I went to elementary school, there were zero Korean, like zero.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I went to high school in Vancouver, I think my grade had. I went to a big high school, so I think my grade had maybe like 300 people, and there was like less than 5 Koreans in my whole grade. I don't know about the other grades, but yeah, very little Koreans. Like maybe 2 or 3 Koreans actually when I think about it. But I graduated high school like more than 10 years ago. But now I feel like there's so many Koreans. Yeah, so I find that so interesting. I actually looked this statistic up. In BC, the most commonly spoken language besides English is actually Punjabi, which I found shocking. I thought it would be Chinese. But then the reason it's not Chinese is because they separate Cantonese and Mandarin. So if you combine that, then Chinese would be the most spoken. So so number 2 and 3 is Canto and Mandarin. Mm-hmm. Number 4, can you guess what it is? Most commonly spoken. It's not Vietnamese. It's a European language.
What is it?
It's German. I don't think I've met a single German speaker my whole life in BC. So they must be, you know what it is? I think maybe they're in like they're hidden. They're in like northern BC in the little communities or something. Maybe, Can you guess what number 5 is? It's an Asian language.
Vietnamese?
No.
Wait. I know it's not Japanese.
Filipino.
Filipino.
Yeah, Tagalog. Exactly. Yeah, it's Tagalog. And then number 6 is
Vietnamese?
No, Vietnamese didn't even make top 6 or 7.
There's so many Vietnamese people.
That's how I felt when I was growing up. I was like, maybe it's because I am Vietnamese, so I just was naturally in the Vietnamese community. I felt like, wow, Vietnamese isn't even top 5. I was shocked, right? But this consensus was, I think it was like in 2016 or something, right? But number 6 is Korean.
What?
Yeah, so Korean speakers take like they're more than Vietnamese speakers here, which is so shocking to me. Yeah. So
I meet more Vietnamese people.
Where do you hang out? Where are all the Vietnamese people chilling?
I don't know. I think so. I think like I don't know.
Maybe you think they're Thai. Like a lot of times I'll go out and people will be like, eavesdrop, find out what they're saying, and I'm like trying to eavesdrop. I'm like, bitch, that's Thai. That's not Vietnamese.
Actually, my classmates, we're 22 people in a class. I think 21. 8 of us are Korean. Which is a lot.
Yeah, what percent is that? That's like 35% or something?
That's a lot. Yeah.
That's a lot. Damn, okay.
But we're kind of like an anomaly. Other classes are like 5, 4.
Oh, okay. Wait, what's the name of the class? You don't have to be super specific, but is it like a business class?
It's computer science.
Oh, it's just computer science.
Yeah, like we're all split into as a whole, our whole like grade or semester grade is like 100 people, and then those 100 people are split into like 5-6 groups.
Oh, okay.
And then from then on, the split off group that I'm in, we have 8 Korean people, including me.
Wow.
So it's a lot.
Are they Korean Canadian or are they Korean like international students?
I think most of them are international actually.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I think I'm the only Korean Canadian actually. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
So do you find that you get along with Korean like international students pretty well? Or do you get along better with like other Canadians?
In high school, I actually did not get along with any international
students.
Yeah, in high school, like Koreans, yeah. But when I went to that school, like because what I felt in high school were that they were kind of unfriendly to me.
The Korean international students?
Yeah.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
Why do you think that was?
I think they were kind of cold.
Yeah.
They only hung out with themselves.
Right.
But then the Korean internationals at that university, or at my university, is very friendly, and so I like hanging out with them.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I don't know why, but they're so much more nicer in university settings versus high school. But I find in general more people are nicer in university settings.
That's true. I think high school. I think it's just high school. I think high school is just like a hostile environment.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're all like going through puberty, and you're just like, well, I'm not like you, so I'm hanging out here. Yeah.
Yeah, but Also, maybe they're just trying to learn English. I don't know.
Oh, that's true. Because
Yeah.
if they hung out with you, it'd automatically be they
'cause-
just speak in Korean.
Yeah, I don't speak Korean at all with them. It's too awkward for me.
Really? So you speak to the Korean international students in your class in English?
Yeah. Like, I refuse to speak Korean.
Really?
Yeah.
Do they ever speak Korean to you and you just reply in English?
Yes.
Oh, so mostly that's how it goes, hey?
Yeah, but like they also feel like it's kind of awkward because they know that my better language is English.
Right.
Yeah. I have spoken Korean with them like through a bet. Like we're like whoever breaks it into English has to like do something.
Right.
That's when I spoke Korean.
I love that they came up with a game to like not have you speak English.
No, we were all in a car. It was like 5
Okay,
Korean people. 2 of us were born there, and then it was 4 people. 2 were born, 2 were international. We were all doing that contest. It's
Yeah.
kind of funny. Yeah.
Like I find like okay, what's interesting about Koreans that I find that other Asian groups aren't like is that Koreans are pretty exclusive.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean when I say
Yeah.
that? Can you like
So like I
elaborate?
met this Chinese guy who also thought the same thing. He's like they all go in a group of like 5 to 8 guys, and then they all start smoking, and then they're all like just taking up space on the sidewalk. But the thing is, you do see that.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
And then when I worked at like this Korean cafe, the male workers were all like that as well.
Oh, they're so
Yeah, they were all just standing there and smoking.
yeah.
Yeah, and they are kind of, I do feel like they're more comfortable with each other. That's why they're exclusive. Or it appears exclusive, but yeah, maybe that's why. I don't know.
Yeah, like because I was trying to figure it out because it's like, yeah, okay, of course, like different groups hang out with people that are similar to them because they get along, but I feel like Koreans are like especially like that, which is why I like bring it up, because I feel like, yeah, of course Chinese people hang out with Chinese people, Viet people hang out with Viet people, but I feel like Koreans are very like, oh, you're Korean, oh, I'm Korean, oh, like, well,
Actually, I've had that happen to me too.
right?
Like I was selling my earphones, and then the guy was Korean. He's just like, hey, are you Korean? I'm like, yeah. He's like, hey, I'm Korean too. Like I'm sure he was just trying to find a common ground.
Right.
But it's just like he's
Or was
more
he-
likely to be friends with me because I was Korean, I think.
Well, okay, this is what I heard.
This guy in my university, I was talking to a Korean girl.
Yeah.
And
In
then he,
Korean
like,
or in English?
In English. And she was like, oh yeah, I'm Korean too. And then he like introduces her, oh, I'm Korean too. And like, happily just to get into a conversation and make friends. So I'm like, this is how you do it.
Yeah. Well, I also heard a common pickup line, like if you want to pick up a Korean girl, is if you just go up to her and you're just like, are you Korean?
What?
Yeah.
I've never heard of
Yeah,
this.
so this is a common pickup line too, like in Korean like clubs or Asian clubs, I guess, right? And if you want, if you kind of already, because you can kind of tell like who's Korean and who's not,
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
You can tell. So what I heard is like a common pickup line is like they just go up to you and be like, oh, are you Korean? And then that's their in, you know, that's their breaking the ice.
That's
And then
so cringy.
right, yeah. So that's kind of a thing. I was trying to think about why like Koreans are pretty exclusive, and then I was thinking about it because growing up, like all my friends were Chinese.
Yeah.
I didn't have any Vietnamese friends because Vietnamese people in Vancouver, like in the 90s, were like a lot of them are gangsters, and their parents like you know grew marijuana, which is now legal in Canada. Amazing, right?
Yeah.
Time has changed. So a lot of their daughters or their kids, aka my peers, would be like daughters and sons of gangsters, and you know I'm not a gangster, and I'm actually like I'm like weird, I'm kind of nerdy or whatever. So all my friends were Chinese. So the Vietnamese girls would like just hang out with the other Vietnamese gangsters
Were
and
they
stuff like
kind of
that.
like ABGs or like?
Yes, 100%. I want to talk about that because when I was growing up, we didn't have the term ABG. Like, I think that's a very recent term, like within the last couple of years, maybe the last 5 years. When I grew up, we called them like Nammer girls.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I've
so
never heard of
see,
it.
you're so young, so I feel like that wasn't in your time. But when I grew up, like, if we saw a girl, like an Asian girl with like, she wore tight TNA, like tracksuits, and like had bleach blonde hair and like had a Chanel bag, we would call her a Nammer girl. And Nammer actually do you know where that word comes from? So in Vietnam, well, I guess like this is what I learned in Korea too, is like Nam means south, right? Yeah, so in Vietnamese, Nam also means south, right? And then there's Bak, which means north, which Korean is like Buk, right? So I think it's all Chinese at the end of the day. So we would call them Nammer girls because they're like Vietnamese girls from Vietnam. Well, they're not from Vietnam. They're born here.
Yeah.
But we'd call them Nammer girls because that ABG look is associated with mainly Vietnamese girls because their parents are gangsters and they have so much money. Right? They have all that drug money.
Yeah.
So they buy their daughters like really expensive clothes because they're like immigrants and they don't speak English, right?
Yeah.
So all the other Asians are like, yo, how you got so much money, right? Growing up in East Vancouver, you're not rich.
Yeah.
Right? So they were called Nammer girls. They weren't called ABGs. So I was like just recently I was like, what's ABG? Like, is that? And then I looked at the pictures of ABGs. I was like, oh, these are just Nammer girls. Yeah. But anyway, so back to why Koreans are so exclusive. So I think it's because Koreans just started immigrating to Canada recently. So I know like you were like born and raised here. So that was like over 2 decades ago. But I feel like there weren't a lot of Koreans like back then, right? Yeah. Like you probably didn't have a lot of Korean classmates like when you were in kindergarten or grade 1 or grade 2, right? Yeah. I had a lot of Vietnamese classmates and Chinese classmates. So maybe it's because we grew up together like when we were so young. We're just like, oh, you are just Emily. You are not Emily the Chinese girl, right? Whereas I feel like now it's like you are Emily the Korean girl, right? So I feel like because Koreans maybe immigrated to Canada like later, like more recently, that maybe that's why they're more I don't know, more like exclusive as a group, and maybe that might change in like 20 years, right? They might just be like, oh, Korean, and then the new exclusive group will come. I have no idea.
Well, on top of that, I also think they're just shy.
Maybe it has nothing to do with like socioeconomic issues. Maybe they're just shy. Okay. Like
I also have one more. That could be too. They're shy, and I actually have one more theory as well.
Okay, please.
Koreans are very what's the word when you're like really into your country? And you're really
patriotic. Oh, they're
very patriotic.
Oh, they're so patriotic.
So when they see another Korean, they're like, patriots.
Yeah. I'm surprised they don't just start singing the national anthem, you know, when they see each other. Okay, yeah, because I feel like Vietnamese people aren't that patriotic.
Oh, really?
No, and Chinese people, I feel like aren't that patriotic as much as Korean people are. Yeah.
I think it has to do with how like Korea, in the 1950s after World War II, they were in extreme poverty, and then growing up and like getting over that, they all just became like, this is our country. We're really proud of ourselves. Right.
Because like we worked together to build this, you know, common thing, and then we made it, right? So it totally makes sense. Like, you know what, Vietnam is now starting to develop more because the U.S. like lifted the sanctions after the war. So who knows, maybe in like 20 years when Vietnam really develops, Vietnamese people might be super patriotic, like we came from nothing and now we're rich and look at us.
It'll rise like Vietnamese pop.
Exactly. I just read this article maybe like yesterday, 2 days ago. One Korean label, I think it's like a smaller label, they're making their first Vietnamese like V-pop boy band.
Really?
Yeah. I forgot their name, but if you Google it, Sujin, our producer, like a Korean company V-pop boy band. Where is it?
Is it like produced by a Korean company?
Yeah.
I think I heard of it. I saw their video. They were super good.
The V-pop?
Yeah, the dancing, the guys.
So you saw it?
Yeah, they were really good.
What?
I would totally support them.
Okay, yeah. I'm like, it's pretty hard for me to find.
I think it's on Korea, boo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so crazy. But anyways, I think we had a really long session. Really, we talked about everything, I feel like, about Canadian life and Korea and Canada. Thank you, Sumin, so much for being on the podcast.
For having me.
We have to get you back. Like, I feel like there's so much more I want to like uncover and talk about.
Pass the poutine.
Pass the poutine.
Fries, cheese curds, and chicken gravy.
Pass the poutine.